What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we are here with the 308 predictions. We are back after a week off. It was an involuntary week off because I got banned from YouTube. I got a community guidelines strike because I directed an insult towards the YouTuber known as Rigo. I'm not going to go into detail about that here because I'm not trying to get banned again, but join my streams whenever I stream and you guys will pick up some of the Rigo information if you don't know it already. But we're back now after a week off. Please, by the way, subscribe to my second channel. I think it's just called Left Lane MMA 2. I'll probably put a link in the description. But if you guys could subscribe to that channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Because if I do get banned again, I'll need a place to upload so I can keep the content coming for you guys. But 308, great card. Topuria versus Holloway. Incredible matchup, very interesting, and the whole card is stacked as fuck because it's in Saudi Arabia and Dana White has been oiled up by the Saudis and given them an incredible card. So yeah, I'm going to start off with the first fight of the night, go all the way to the main event, give my prediction and breakdown. But yeah, let's start off with the first fight of the card, Aslan versus Raffael Cequeira. Now, Aslan, I'm going to be picking Raffael Cequeira. I'll get that out of the way straight away. But Aslan is 13-1 versus 11-0 for Raffael Cequeira. I think you'll find some places saying he's 13-0, but I assume he's got some dodgy fights on his record with some weird like mixed rules stuff, which some guys don't count, I guess. But 11-0, undefeated, big dude, powerful guy. Aslan, the reason I'm not picking him is he lost to Anton Trakal. And then he lost to him on the regional scene, sorry. And then he beat him again in the rematch. But took Anton Trakal to the third round and made Anton Trakal look decent. And the thing is with making Anton Trakal look decent is Anton Trakal has been KO'd brutally by anyone who's worth a dime at light heavyweight. Olberg slept him. Pedro slept him. Vitor Petrino did actually take him to a decision, to be fair, but Vitor Petrino's mid. He just loses fights, and he's a victim, and he's shit. And Aslan was getting tagged up by him, and if you look at his face in that fight, his eye was swollen up. He had to get a comeback win in a fight that he was like a big favourite in. And I just don't rate that performance. And now, look, am I going to lie to you and say I've watched a bunch of Raffael Cequeira tape? No. But I'm going to pick the undefeated guy here, and also, yeah, Aslan lost to him already on the regional scene. I'm talking about Trakal. But yeah, 8 KOs, 2 submissions, only 1 decision win. This dude is a finisher of the highest order. Last time he went to a decision was in 2022. Look, are his opponents complete bums and cans? Yes. But I think most of Aslan's wins on the Contender Series included. His other wins, like he beat Paulo Hanato Jr. 12-3, not too bad, but just a fat guy who's a heavyweight. This fight's a light heavyweight, obviously. I just don't rate Aslan. Now, maybe I'm going to be a bit blind in trusting Raffael Cequeira. But yeah, I just don't trust Aslan. Now, Raffael Cequeira, again, powerful dude, Brazilian. I'm gonna pick a Brazilian. I'm sorry, I'm not picking the only fucking Turkish fighter in the UFC. Like, I'm seeing all these flags and stuff like Turkey, Turkey, Turkey. Guess what? You don't see people spamming America flags in comment sections of American champions or Brazilian in, like, you only see that in the fucking countries where there's like 3 fighters and they're all mid. Apart from, like, I guess Kazakhstan, you'll see a bunch of Shavkat, which is fair. But, like, how many Turkish fighters are there in the UFC? There's a reason why there's fuck all, none of them. Because they suck, and Turkey is not a good base for MMA. Like, go be a fucking kebab shop owner. Like, why are you training martial arts? Aslan, though, he's a powerful guy. He could just win by KO. I think this is very reminiscent of Zhang Mingyang versus Brenson Herberio. If you remember that fight from earlier in the year in UFC 298, it was 2 guys, unproven. Neither of them had made their UFC debut yet. Both coming off Contender Series / Road to the UFC. Very similar, unproven, just 2 heavy hitters, and it was just, you kind of got to take a toss-up. It's pretty even. Aslan's a slight favourite, so I am going to be taking the underdog here. Raffael Cequeira is going to get this one done by round 1 TKO. Let's move on, though, to the next fight on the card. Ismael Naurdiev versus Bruno Silva. Now, I wanted to pick Bruno Silva, and I still don't think Ismael Naurdiev is very good. But I don't think Bruno Silva is very good, and Bruno Silva's 23-11, and he's 35 years of age, and he's 5-6, or he's 5-1 in his last 6 is what I should say. 5 out of his last 6, and the losses they're not awful. Like Ferreira, Brendan Allen, those aren't bad. But Weidman schooling you in 2024 is just not a good look. I mean, not schooling, but like he beat him clearly. Obviously the eye pokes was what it was, but he did. It's not like Bruno Silva was winning that fight, dominating Weidman, and then he got eye poked and finished. No, Weidman was winning. He won the first. He won the second. He was doing well in the first. He literally was. How are you going to be getting? I'm sorry. If you're getting pressed by Weidman and Weidman's like landing a combination on you and feeling confident, like I just can't be picking you. Shara tuned him up. He kind of shot takedowns and held on for dear life. He smoked Tavares, which is a good win, but Tavares at this stage looked pretty shit against Young Park. His chin's just not as good. He got smoked by Robocop. Tavares, I don't know if I rate it. He got smoked by Meerschaert after, like, he went to a decision with Ferreira, which is a great look. His chin was incredible, and I still think it's not terrible, but he got dropped by Meerschaert. He got dropped by Brendan Allen. He got rocked a bunch of times by Shara. I think he even got dropped by Weidman. Just not a good look. And apart from that, Jordan Wright, Andrew Sanchez, Wellington Turman. Those his UFC wins is Wellington Turman, Jordan Wright, Andrew Schultz, and then Tavares. Tavares is the only one worth anything out of all of those guys. So I am going to be going with Naurdiev. Now, I think Lucas Tracy loves to talk about the welterweight skill. I don't know who Lucas is picking in this one, let me know. But Naurdiev, 23-7 now. If you see his picture, he's got UFC shorts on, and that is not because he's on a recent UFC run. That is because he's been signed back, which is an interesting signing because since his UFC departure, he is 4-3 fighting in Brave FC. He had one fight in EMC, which he won by decision. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's just quicker than Bruno Silva. And you might be like, oh, but Bruno Silva beat Tavares. He hasn't beat anyone as good as Tavares. Probably true. But the UFC fights beat Michel Prazeres, Chance Rencontre he lost to. His wins are not anything special, but his UFC fights was in 2019, and then his most recent one was in February 2020. That's his UFC record. And that's 4 years ago, right? Ismael Naurdiev is 28 years of age. So he was 24, 23 when he was fighting in the UFC. He's a bit more experienced now. Yes, he lost. Vadim Kutsi is a very good opponent, probably someone that should be in the UFC, 16-2, Belarusian guy. Very solid fighter. He did lose his last fight by TKO. On the Contender Series, though, to Daniel Frunza. So he did get signed. Daniel Frunza, I assume, got signed. Who's Daniel Frunza? Let me look at this guy. Daniel Frunza's 9-2 guy. I don't know how I didn't see that fight. Anyway, I watched pretty much all of Contender Series, but he was on a massive win streak before then. Hadn't lost since 2016, so I think that's not a terrible loss. And Naurdiev, is he that good? No. Is he going to put away Silva? Probably not, because I think Silva's chin is still solid. But I think he's just quicker. He's precise striker. He's solid. And I think he can get it done across the distance. I think he's doing some more development in his game as well. Probably. It's not even a short notice fight, so I don't know why it's a middleweight, because he's a welterweight. But maybe he told the UFC, he's like, I want to fight at middleweight. And maybe they just wanted a fight on the card. They wanted another dude whose name ends in V. But I think Naurdiev's going to get this one done. Let's move on, though, to the next fight on the card, if I can just manage to get that up now. I think it's Rinat, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal, I believe, is the next fight on the card. Let me just get that up. It is Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal. I'm going to be going with Rinat. Now, the odds I don't have up on screen because I don't think they've been released, or at the time when I actually officially set up my prediction template or whatever, they weren't released. But I think Rinat opened at minus 500. He's come all the way down to minus 200. So a lot of people rating Carlos Leal. I just don't think you're going to beat Rinat on short notice. I think you're going to have to be very good to beat him in general. And I don't think... And look, Carlos Leal Miranda, that's his name. He's got 2 losses on the regional scene to Sadibou. Not a bad guy to lose to. Ray Cooper III, solid win there. But apart from that, I'm not seeing that many people that I'm impressed by. A couple other losses way back in the day. He's on a little bit of a 2-fight win streak, not a win streak, but he's in the PFL. He's been doing the playoffs bullshit that they do over there because they don't know how to run a promotion. Most recent win, Manuel Mena, who is a 12-4 guy, but I just don't rate PFL wins. I just think PFL fighters are awful, and we've just seen Renan Ferreira just get absolutely smoked by Ngannou. Obviously, that's the best we have. Rinat is not the best welterweight on the planet, but I just don't think losing to PFL guys is a great look. If you're losing, Sadibou is not a bad look to lose to, but he's started with size 17-8. Got 2 of his last 3 losses. He's lost to other guys. He got a loss to Magomedov as well. Abbas has been proven to not be all that. So I'm going to just pick Rinat. Rinat, look, his last few performances have been a bit stinky, but he did smoke Brian Battle, and he did have a pretty solid first 2 rounds against Azalea Daleski dos Santos, because he won the first 2 and then got 10-8'd in the third because he got kicked in the body, if I remember correctly. Or he got a 10-8 in the first and then lost the second 2. I don't remember, but I think it was he won the first 2, dropped dos Santos like immediately, and then got fucking kicked in the body in the third and almost lost. But I think Rinat's solid. He pushes a pace. He's going to be good for the judges. We saw him fight in Saudi. We saw him fight in Abu Dhabi. He gets these decisions, even if he should lose on damage. Carlos Leal may or may not be on roids. He does look a bit juicy. He does look a bit roided up. But I do think Rinat will get it done. Short notice, probably not going to have a great weight cut as well, because it's not a catch weight either. So yeah, I'm going to be picking Rinat Fakhretdinov to get this one done. Anyway, the next fight on the card is Farid Basharat versus Victor Hugo. I'm going to go with Basharat. He's proven. I rate Basharat, and I rate his wins, because his wins are actually solid. Because Taylor Lapulus and Damon Blackshear are very good. Clayton Rodriguez is shit, but like, he made his debut in March 23, so he's been not that active. His only fight this year was in January, but I think he's going to get into a bit more of an active schedule, probably trying to find some opponents. I think he's had some fights fall out. I think he'll get this one done by decision, because Victor Hugo is solid. 25-4, solid record, but he's been finished 3 times. And who's he lost to? He's on a win streak, I'll give him that. His last loss was in 2014, so you can't really look and be like, oh, he's losing to bums. But Pedro Falcao is his only UFC win, and it was a decision. He got taken down a bit in that fight from memory. I think Basharat is just very good at taking you down. He made Lapulus, who's the normal like French like striker with the decent takedown defense, he made Lapulus look pretty mid. And Lapulus is solid. Damon Blackshear, in my opinion, beat Mario Batista, and I'll stand on that hill. Damon Blackshear won the first 2 rounds against Batista. Now, Batista might be a pathetic individual, and he should have lost to Aldo as well, but you know, he had a solid performance against Aldo, apart from the 3rd round, which was just dismal to watch. But, you know, Batista's not awful. He might be a bum to society, but, like, he's not a terrible fighter, if you can even call him that. But Blackshear's solid. I know he got smoked by Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson's good too. But, yeah, I just rate Basharat's wins. Victor Hugo's unproven as fuck. And I think Basharat's the better Basharat, but I think a lot of people for a long time thought that Javid was the better one. Javid's mid. He lost to Ayman Zahabi. But Farid Basharat, 12-0, undefeated guy. I think he gets this one done. Let's move on, though, to the next fight on the card. We've got Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Chris Barnett. Now, I've seen too many prediction videos predicting Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Justin Tafa. You are a casual. If you are picking Kennedy... So I'm just going to move. If you are picking Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Justin Tafa, if that's the fight you're breaking down, you are a casual, because you're not keeping up with fight announcements, which means you don't follow Big Marcel, which means you're a casual. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to get out of the way, is keep your up. Don't rely on the UFC fucking website. If you're gonna scroll down the thing and check what the fights are, which is what I'm doing now just to make sure I don't miss any, is Sherdog. But the UFC thing is never updated, so you got to stay updated and you got to be following the fight. Like, I already know, I'm about to talk about Nurmagomedov. His fight is off. There's not a replacement announced, but they're looking for a replacement. I'm still going to talk about him, because I'm going to pick whoever he fights. I'm going to pick him against whoever he fights, unless it's someone really good. But yeah, you got to keep up with the fight announcements. I'm getting on Fight News straight away. As soon as I knew this morning Daniel Santos was out. Guru released his prediction videos midway through the day, picking Santos versus Saeed. So you got to stay up to date with the announcements and know who's in and out, because you can't be predicting fight. Lucas Tracy picked Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Sultan Ruzaboev. That shit got cancelled like 2 weeks ago. Anyway, I'll talk about the fight now. Kennedy Nzechukwu is going to beat Chris Barnett. Chris Barnett's a fat man. He's a fat, tubby individual. No muscle insertions, just a blob. He's quick. He's a quick blob. But I don't think you can be a quick blob to beat Kennedy Nzechukwu. I think you have to be an actual capable martial artist. Who's he losing to? Let's think. OSP. Okay, I take that back. You can't be losing to OSP. OSP's a terrible loss, but Chris Barnett's awful. Hasn't fought in ages. Pulled out of the fight with Junior Tafa. Turning around here. Probably going to miss weight like a fat cunt. But Kennedy Nzechukwu is good. He's not, but Kutalaba's not a bad win. We beat Olberg. That's actually fair. Good win. But if he just shows up here and doesn't get randomly chinned by Chris Barnett's farts, then he should get the win, in my opinion. He's a big favourite as such. Anyway, Abus Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. This is one of the more divisive ones of the card. This is one of the fights that a lot of people are kind of split on, from what I'm seeing. I'm going to be going with Abus Magomedov, Abusipian Magomedov. I'm going to be picking him against Bruno Ferreira because I don't think Bruno Ferreira is that good. I think he's a very fun fighter. I enjoy watching him fight because he goes after it, and he did KO Robocop, which is better than any of Abus's wins, objectively. But Robocop's a guy who can be caught. I think a lot of people thought he had like a granite chin because he took a knee from Chidi Nzechukwu, even though he got split open and won. But his chin, it's solid, but it's not amazing. He does get random flash knockdowns sometimes. But Bruno Ferreira slumped him. So Abus definitely could get KO'd here, but I don't think Abus is the guy who's just letting himself get like one punch KO'd in the first. I think if you're going to beat Abus, you got to weather a storm and come back in the second and third. Bruno Ferreira, I think his cardio is fucking dismal, and I think his gas tank and energy management is dismal, and I think he's an oversized welterweight who is just a bit tubby at middleweight and is just a short, stocky guy. But honestly, it's not a bad idea to stay middleweight because they suck. But he could do the Buckley approach, go down and have success there. But I think he's going to get picked apart here. I think Abus is going to be good. I think he can use his wrestling. Bruno Ferreira is strong, but I think Abus is just a bit better. He's cleaner. And also, people make fun of his losses because he got humiliated by Strickland, but his losses are Strickland and Caio Borralho. Like, his losses are to two of the top 5 guys in the world, or top 6, whatever. Bruno Ferreira, he did lose to Sultan Uzabov. That was actually his first loss. He got kind of flash KO'd there. But I think Abus has the range to make him struggle. Let me check. What is the reach advantage here? I think it's going to be pretty fucking sizable from what I'm seeing just by looking at the two of them. Because, yeah, Bruno Ferreira is a short, stocky guy. He had a scrappy fight with Dustin Stoltzfus. I don't like scrappy fights with Stoltzfus. I think you should just smoke Dustin Stoltzfus because he's a bum. Let me see. He's got a 16 centimeter reach advantage. That's like 6 inches. That's around what I'm packing, you know. But I'm packing actually more, to be honest. Anyway, Abus Magomedov, 6-inch reach advantage-ish. He's gonna make it work against Bruno Ferreira. He's gonna make it work. Bruno Ferreira is powerful, but he beat Phil Hawes. He beat Phil Hawes in a fight which was kind of going both ways, and then Phil Hawes just spontaneously dies. That's what he has. He's got SDD, spontaneous death syndrome. He just dies randomly. He just gets chinned by air. But Abus is solid. I think he's just better. I think he's more experienced. I think he's more likely to win a fight on the scorecards too. I think Bruno Ferreira is going to be swinging and hitting air for a lot of this now, unless he just gasses out Abus, maybe wrestles him, makes him engage in some grappling. But Abus looked good in the grappling in his last fight. Looked capable. But yeah, I think Bruno Ferreira is going to lose here. Is going to get picked apart. Maybe TKO'd, maybe lose a clean decision. I just think Abus, I think his cardio is not very good, but I think his cardio is still better than Ferreira, and I think he can fight at his pace for longer and force the fight to kind of be at range, frustrate Bruno Ferreira, and get a solid 29-28 win, in my opinion, after maybe a iffy first round. Anyway, next fight on the card is not taking place, but I'll talk about Said Nurmagomedov briefly, just to mention, because Daniel Santos pulled out as of about 8 hours ago, I think. Is from what I saw. So Daniel Santos is out. The UFC is looking for a replacement. That's why I'm not completely just scrapping this off the card. I will obviously post my picks on my community page before, after weigh-ins, so we have the complete card, complete lineup, any replacements, all that's done, good to go. But yeah, I'm going to be going with Said against whoever he fights. Unless I saw Charles Johnson put his name in the hat, I'll be picking Said to beat Charles Johnson. Obviously, if this fight did take place, I was going to be picking Said. I think he's just better, more well-rounded than Daniel Santos. And he's got the submission threat too. But yeah, whoever steps up, it's probably going to be some guy off the regional scene. I'm going to pick Said by round 1 submission with a guillotine. Unless it's someone really good, I'll change my prediction. But until then, I'll be going with Said. Anyway, let's move on to fights that are actually taking place. Mateusz Rabecki versus Myktybek Orolbai. I'm going to be going with the caveman here, Myktybek Orolbai, the man who discovered fire. If he discovered fire, I think he probably discovered martial arts before Rabecki, who I think is just a big roided up, jacked Polish dude with no hairline. Who realized he has some power, but his technique's kind of shit. His wrestling's good, right? He's a strong guy. physical dude, but I think Orolbai is just solid, and I think Orolbai has inbred strength. He's got caveman strength. Those Kyrgyzstani, Kazakhstani, Tajikistani, these guys have fucking weird inbred strength. And Orolbai is going to use that here. I think he's going to win. I'm going to say decision, though. I could see him finishing Rabecki because Ferreira was kind of piecing him up. And Orolbai does have some weird fucking power. Like, he was cracking Elvis Brenner and dropping him. And Elvis Brenner's a guy who has a pretty solid chin until the Alvarez fight where he kind of just got smoked. But he did get hurt by Orolbai a few times in their fight. Orolbai, though, Uros Medic is a good win. Like, submitting Uros Medic is a very good win. Mateusz Rabecki, Rajdabov is a solid win. Fair enough. You get Rajdabov. That's not a bad win. But taking Nick Fior to a decision, not a great look. Fior's kind of a bum. He smoked Roosevelt Roberts in the first, which is what I was hoping Ludovic Klein would do. But it is what it is. Roberts is tough out, but he made that look easy. Used his grappling here. I just don't think you're taking down Orolbai, and I don't think he has the striking like Medic to kind of piece him up a bit on the feet before he gets the takedowns. Because that's what Medic was doing. He was kind of tuning him up on the feet. And then Orolbai kind of just shot in, and once he gets a hold of you, he just tosses you around. Rabecki's strong. He did stuff takedowns from Rajdabov. He did take Rajdabov down. So I think this fight is a bit closer than the odds suggest. Orolbai's over minus 200. I think that's a bit too much, to be honest. I think Rabecki's got a decent chance here. Stocky, short, can stuff takedowns, can make it difficult. Orolbai I don't think is quite as precise as Diego Ferreira, but I still just think he's going to do well enough here to get this one done. I'll say decision. I'll say a 29-28 decision. Rabecki has a good first round, kind of gives him some trouble. And then Orolbai is the definition of crafty vet. He's been around since fucking BC time. So he's going to have the experience to get this one done. He's been game planning for this fight for a good 100 years. Geoff Neal versus RDA. The first of the ranked fighters on the card. The first of like the real kind of big matchups, I guess. I'll go with Geoff Neal. RDA is just not very good. He's 32-16. So that's tough. That's not a great look. Geoff Neal, he's got some questionable losses. He lost to Magny, but for the most part, you know, you're 15-6. None of the losses are inexcusable. Magny's kind of inexcusable, but who's he lost? Ian Gary's excusable in a close fight. Shavkat submission in a war is excusable. Magny loss is rough. Thompson on the feet's excusable, and then apart from that, Holland back on the regional scene and one other guy. But let's compare this to RDA, who in his recent career, although he doesn't look completely washed, he's not like super cooked. He gets KO'd, never been submitted. Obviously, Geoff Neal's not going to be hunting the submission, but most of his losses are by decision. I think that's what's going to happen here. He lost the decision to Gamrot, just got taken down a whole bunch. Decision to Luque, got taken down a whole bunch. He beat Barberena through the grappling. Now maybe he just takes down Geoff Neal, and it's one of those just annoyingly weird upsets of the card where you're like, yeah, how the fuck was I supposed to predict this? He did smoke Moicano, but it was on short notice. He did beat Paul Felder, clearly, which is a good win. At welterweight, though, what are the fights at welterweight looking like? Lost to Luque, win over Barberena, lost to Chiesa, lost to Edwards, win over Lee, and then lost to Usman and Covington. Like, he beat Lawler. This is way back, though. He did beat Magny, to be fair. But again, like 9 years ago. But yeah, I think Geoff Neal's just too powerful, too strong. He's got the pop. RDA, Geoff Neal smoked Luque, and Luque beat RDA. MMA math, I know it's not the best thing to use, but I think RDA's just a bit past it at this point. How old is Mr. Raffael? How old is he? He's 39 years of age, and his 40th birthday is on fight night. So he's going to turn 40 on fight night. I think his birthday present is going to be a unanimous decision loss. Unfortunately for Mr. Dos Santos, I think he's going to take the L here. Anyway, let's move on up the card to the main card. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you guys have been enjoying the predictions. But Shara Magomedov against Armen Petrosyan. I've been waiting to fade Shara and pick against him and be the guy, because I think everyone's basically picked Shara in all of his fights. Like Bruno Silva, everyone picked him realistically. Tricoli, everyone picked him. Mikal, everyone picked him. Since the Bruno Silva fight, I've been like, yeah, I'm going to pick against him at some point. And then after the Tricoli fight, I'm like, yeah, you can't be needing to grab the fence and cheat to beat Tricoli. Like, that's a terrible look. So, I'm going to be picking Shara here. I think Petrosyan is good, and it wouldn't surprise me if he lost. And I think the odds reflect that, because it's actually less than minus 200, which Shara's been, like, well over that in his recent fights. Petrosyan, though, he's got some good wins, you know. The losses won by TKO. I don't think he's going to get finished here. He lost to Vieira, but Vieira's just a strong grappler. Baralo is not a bad loss to have. Duncan, Dobson, C-Rod, or no, G-Rod, Gregor Rodriguez, and then Contender Series. And yeah, I don't think that's that bad. I think he's solid. His striking's not bad, but I think Shara is just a bit too quick. He's a bit too dynamic. He's got too many weapons. After this, though, I need to see Shara versus a top 15 guy. Like, I need to see Shara fight like a Michelle Pineda, or fight a Joe Pyfer, or fight a Chris Curtis, or fight Jack Hermansson. Like, we can't just keep giving this guy layups on Saudi cards. They're already doing another fucking Saudi card in February, probably because they want to turn this guy around and just have him only fight in Abu Dhabi, because I'm pretty sure that's probably where he can only fight. But they're trying to build a star. They're trying to, you know, organically build a star from the Dagestani region. He's promotable. He's undefeated. And I think he will lose at some point, though. I don't think he's going to get smart. I don't think he's going to get much further than this in his undefeated record, but I will pick him to beat Armen Petrosyan. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. These are the big ones here. This is the one I'm really interested in. Magomed Ankalaev versus Aleksandar Rakic. I am going to pick Aleksandar Rakic to win this fight by decision. This is easy money. No, it's not easy money, but it's going to be a risk that I'm willing to take. And I know I get all the comments every fucking time saying you only pick favourites, even though it's not true. I literally pick an underdog I pick at least one underdog per card. And also, I'm not trying to pick... This is not betting advice. This is not me being like, oh yeah, I would put money on minus 700 Kennedy and Nzechukwu. No, I'm trying to get picks right. And if coincidentally I think the guy... so I'm just going to move my laptop. If I coincidentally think the guy who's a minus 700 favourite's going to win, I'm sorry, I'm not going to just pick the guy who's plus 500 just for the sake of it. If I see an underdog who I think's going to win, I'll pick him. And I think Aleksandar Rakic is going to win because I think his style is perfect to beat Ankalaev. Not perfect, maybe, but it's a good style to do it. And I think Ankalaev is going to struggle here with the strength of Rakic. I think he's going to struggle with the size of Rakic. I think he's going to struggle with the technique and the low kicks and the boxing of Rakic, who looked clean as fuck against Yuri Prohaska. Like, let's not kid ourselves and act like this guy wasn't just absolutely tuning up Yuri and looking like the best fucking light heavyweight ever on the feet in that fight. He was, and then eventually he kind of just got unable to punch someone more in the face and lost. But I think that's excusable. I think you're allowed to beat the fuck out of someone for a round and a half and then just physically not be able to keep punching them because you've just spent the entire time using them as a punching bag because Yuri's chin is retarded. And then in his very next fight he gets chinned. Probably because Rakic did soften up that chin. But I think Rakic's technique is good. I think his power's good. He's strong as well. Who's Rakic losing to? He lost to Blachowicz via injury. He was doing well in the grappling. He took down Jan in the second round. It took Ankalaev to like the fourth round until he had no legs under him to take down Blachowicz. But Ozdemir, I thought that was a clear win for Rakic. I thought he won that fight. And then apart from that, his very first fight ever in MMA. But his UFC losses is a dodgy split to Ozdemir, an injury to Blachowicz, and then a comeback TKO to Yuri. He has never just been beat bell to bell, dominated on the feet, outclassed, outstruck, outgrappled. He's never just been beaten clearly for the duration of a fight. Yuri won. He won the first round against Yuri, won the second round against Blachowicz, and in my opinion, beat Ozdemir. I think he's good. Now, the Santos fight, the Smith fight, decision, these aren't great looks taking them to decision, but he's got explosivity, and he can just KO Jimmy Manuwa immediately with a head kick. He can do that. And Ankalaev, I don't love this inactivity for him as well. I know Rakic hasn't been too active, but I think Rakic is kind of used to it. Rakic is a guy, in my opinion, who's kind of benefiting from the taking the time and the being able to rebuild yourself and get yourself in physical shape. Look at this guy's Instagram. Take a look at this physique, as Conor McGregor would say. Take a look at his physique. I'm in phenomenal shape. But Magomed Ankalaev is not a guy who's just always inactive, but he has been recently. Like, his last fight was in January against Johnny Walker. In no way is fighting Johnny Walker going to get you prepared to fucking fight with Rakic. Before that, his last fight was obviously Johnny Walker, the no contest. But before that, it was December of 2022. He was a bit active in 2020. Like, he fought October 21 March 22, July 22, December 22. Didn't fight again until October 23, January 24, obviously, because they turned it around straight away. And he hasn't fought again for like 8 months or 10 months or whatever. I don't like that for him. I mean, I like it for my pick because I think Rakic is going to win. And I think these odds should not be as wide as they are now. Would it surprise me if Ankalaev wins? No, this is not going to be a fucking upset. And don't come back to this and say this aged like milk if fucking Rakic loses a decision. If Rakic gets brutally slept and KO'd, I'll be like, alright, fucking fair enough. Probably not the best pick. I'll take credit for that, or I'll own up to that. But I think Rakic is going to struggle, make him struggle. Now, I'm picking him by like decision, which is worrying because I do think they will just give it to Ankalaev even if it's a robbery. But I don't care. If Ankalaev wins a robbery decision and Rakic clearly wins, I'll take the on paper getting my pick wrong because deep down the fans will know that Rakic was robbed. Now, maybe it's just definitive and Ankalaev schools him and smokes him, but I don't think he's taken Rakic down. And I think Ankalaev looked kind of mid against Krylov, who didn't look amazing against Krylov, looked solid against Ozdemir. You know, KO'd Kutalaba, congratulations. KO'd Jalchi Lukiambula. KO'd Marcin Brachno. Lost to Bull Craig. Yeah, it's alright. But like Santos, he also had a stinky fight against Santos. I mean, he took down Smith, but Smith washed anyway. But yeah, I think Rakic is a good style to beat him. I've been saying it. This is not me taking someone else's prediction. I'm just gonna pick the underdog here. I think he's one of the bigger underdogs on the card, one of the bigger like high profile underdogs. And I don't think you can put the number 5 light heavyweight in the world as a plus 300 underdog against anyone, unless he's fucking fighting Aspinall or something. I think Rakic is good. He's physical. He's big. Ankalaev's not gonna just be able to bully him around. He's not got shit defense like Walker. Like, he stayed defensively responsible in round 1. I think he can win round 1 against Ankalaev, and then maybe just be a bit too physical for him. Kind of eke out round 2. Maybe Ankalaev takes over in the 3rd. But yeah, I don't think Ankalaev is going to be able to mix in the takedowns as easily as he normally does, which is something that helps him get the win in a lot of his fights. And yeah, I'm picking Rakic. So yeah, you guys can shut the fuck up about me picking only favourites because I'm picking a plus 300 underdog. Anyway, let's move on up the card. Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige indeed. I'm going to be picking Lerone Murphy. I think he's good. I think Lerone Murphy's solid. And I just think he's better than Dan Ige. I think he's more technical. And I think he's got the right style to beat Dan Ige. Because Dan Ige is a guy that can kind of get held at range a little bit and lose some striking fights. He either gets taken down and loses in the grappling, like against Bryce Mitchell, or against Lopez in their fight. But I think this guy is easily... Well, not easily, but I think you can be a certain style of striker and beat this dude on the feet. The brawlers, the wild guys who aren't very technical, like the Nate Landwehr's, they lose to him. You know, the Nate Landwehr's, the Damon Jacksons, the Andre Phillies, they get KO'd. But the Movzars and the Emmets and the Zombies and the Katers beat him. Alright? Barboza was close, arguably could have gone to Ige. It is what it is. Oh, sorry, arguably could have gone to Barboza. He won that fight. But I think those guys beat him. And a Barboza split decision, which was close and could have gone to Edson, compared to Lerone Murphy, who schooled Edson Barboza in 150-45 pretty much. I think that's better. I like that more. Look, I picked against him against Barboza because I thought that Gabriel Santos getting KO'd by David Onama one fight after almost beating you, in my opinion, kind of did beat him. Was not the best look, but since then, he looks much better. He schooled Kulabau and he's schooled Barboza, and I think he's solid, and I think he's going to win this by decision. The card order's a bit weird. I don't know why this is the feature fight. I would have put Ankalaev Rakic as the feature fight, but I'm going to be going with Lerone the Miracle Murphy. Featherweight Leon Edwards. Featherweight, you have Leon Edwards. This guy's going to do what he needs to do to get the win, and I don't think he's irresponsible, like defensively irresponsible enough to just get slept. I think you got to be a bit erratic to kind of catch him, do some weird goofy shit, kind of like Santos, jump on the back, use grappling a little bit to mix it in. Don't think Hige's going to do that. I think Lerone Murphy's going to get this one done by decision. Let's move on. Co-main event, Whittaker Chimaev. As an Australian, it does pain me to say this, but I am going to pick Khamzat Chimaev by round 1 submission. I think he's going to show out here, and I think he's going to have a good performance. Now, maybe that's just me vibe picking and me getting baited into the Dagestani aura of picking all the Dagestanis without thing, because yes, I did pick I picked Ikram Aliskerov. I did, guys. It's alright. I was. It wasn't me. Someone else forced me to make that prediction at gunpoint. No, that was definitely a case of me kind of getting baited by the Dagestani unbeatable aura, I guess. But I don't think Ikram's that good, and that's in hindsight. I don't think Ikram's very good. Whittaker also smoked Ikram. Whittaker smoked him. Khamzat also smoked Ikram. I think Khamzat's just got a style to overwhelm Whittaker in the first round and kind of make him shit himself and lose. Because I think if it does extend past 2, I'm going to be picking Whittaker. But I don't think Khamzat's gas tank is just atrocious. Usman's a guy that has good cardio, that will press a pace, that will make you work, and will kind of just take over as the fight goes on. Are we going to act like Usman didn't make Leon look gassed as fuck at altitude past, round 1, realistically? I think Usman's I know that fight was short notice, but Khamzat did smoke him. Who the fuck's... People forget, man. Who does that to Usman? Sound like Joe Rogan. Who does that to Kamaru Usman? But Usman's solid. And I think Usman's a guy... And again, welterweight skill. I think Khamzat might just be a little bit better. A little bit more surprising in the grappling, I guess. I don't know. It's not the most logical prediction, because I think if it does go... I am kind of banking on an early finish for Khamzat, because I do think Whittaker takes over. But I think Whittaker also might fight a bit timid and not fight at the pace that he needs to actually overwhelm Khamzat in the 3rd, 4th, 5th to maybe get a finish. Because I think if he does fight at a really high pace, survive the first, and then try and put it on him just full throttle, foot on the gas, I think he can gas out Khamzat. But I think if he kind of just tries to do his little ranges, and just fucking low kicks and oblique kicks and shit, I don't think that pace is going to be enough to slow down Khamzat to the point where he can't get takedowns. I think if Khamzat is able to fight at the pace that that 2nd or 3rd round was against Usman, and not just completely waste all his energy in round 1, I think he can succeed in the grappling against Hobbit Whittaker, and I think he can get him down, because Whittaker, he's been taken down by Dricus. He's been kind of out physicaled, and I could see Khamzat just being a bit too physical. Khamzat looks good, he looks healthy. Hopefully he doesn't fucking fall ill with 2 days to go and we get a replacement of Robert Whittaker versus fucking Shara Magomedov, and that happens again. But if that does happen, I'll be picking Whittaker, obviously. But Khamzat, he's mid in my... he's not mid, sorry. Ikram is mid, that's what I meant to say. And even though Khamzat smoked him on the regional scene, Whittaker KOing him, it doesn't change my opinion on Whittaker. It doesn't change my belief that Whittaker does just kind of not perform in the really, really the intense spotlights, the pressure spots. And I think that'll prove here tonight, or not tonight, October 26th. As Holloway says, we'll find out October 26th, brother. I think we're going to find out October 26th. Khamzat's going to finally have a fucking good performance. He's going to finally deliver. And we're going to get back 2021 or 2020 unbeatable fucking aura Khamzat that's probably going to pick Whittaker up inside the first minute and throw him across the fucking across the cage, dump him on the fucking canvas and go to work, and Whittaker's just going to give up something. So I'm going to go with Khamzat by a dust, and he's going to soften Rob up with some ground and pound, and Whittaker is going to look a bit lost like he did against Dricus at the end of the first. I could just see that. Dricus was kind of fishing for a das. I reckon Khamzat gets him down, gets the das, gets the tap, or puts Whittaker asleep. Has Whittaker lost by submission in his career? That is the question that I have. Surely he has. Well, he's got 1 submission loss in his career. He's got 1 submission loss, and it was to Hoon Kim in 2011. But yeah, apart from that, he's basically been losing by decision, apart from to Dricus and Izzy. I don't know. I just think Khamzat's going to win. It's a vibes pick. I'm not going to lie. Am I doing fucking hours of tape study? No, I haven't watched a single fucking fight in preparation for this, so probably don't agree. Don't gamble on these picks, but I'm doing it. I'm trying to get this shit right. He's a bit more of a favourite than I think he should be. I think this should be around minus 130 Khamzat, plus 100 Whittaker. I think that's acceptable. But I'm going to be going with Khamzat. I think he gets it done. Let's move on, though, to the main event. Ilia Totoro against Max Holloway. To be honest, they're both fucking bombs. I'll kick the nails off the 2 of them. You best believe. I'll fucking slap the nails off him. Stand your base here. Stand your base. I'm in Spain, bro. I'm in my bear, bro. Anyway, Ilia Totoro versus Max Hollywood is going to be an amazing fight. And I'm going to be picking, drum roll, Ilya Arturo. I'm going to be picking him by first round KO in the first minute. I'm going to pick him by second round TKO. That's the bold pick, though. Like, I think the more logical pick is a kind of refined pace. Both of them kind of respect the other. It's kind of a very similar pace to Volk and Topuria 1 or Volk and Holloway 3 or those kind of fights where it kind of gets stuck at range. But I do think the height plays a factor and helps Ilya. I think Holloway's going to have some weapons, but I also worry about his weight cut. I think Ilya's a better boxer, and I think if you don't agree with that, I think you're wrong. This is not me trying to be like, oh, you can't disagree with my opinion. I think it's just objectively true that if you get 50-45 in a majority boxing fight against Holloway, which, like by Volk, so Volk 50-45 to Holloway in a majority boxing fight, people are like, oh, he grappled. Holloway did not get taken down in that fight. It was a bit of clinch work, and it was just him getting boxed up on the feet. Holloway is a worse boxer than Volk, proved by their fight in the trilogy. And Ilya smoked Volk. Like, not ran through him the whole time pillar to post, but I think he's a more dangerous boxer than Volk, and I think if he can land the shots that Volk can, which I think he's pretty quick, I think he's almost as quick as Volk, I think he'll be a little bit quicker than Holloway, because the speed difference in the Volk-Holloway trilogy was evident, and that was, like, the main reason why Volk was able to kind of just jab him and move and stick and move. I think Ilya can have a performance like it against Emmett, where he kind of just uses Holloway as a bit of a punching bag and makes him look silly. And maybe Holloway gets a bit frustrated, overextends on some shots. Now, look, I do think the safe call is a decision. So if I'm being safe, I'm going to go Ilya Arturo via 49-46 decision. Holloway wins the 5th. Or, no, you know what? Holloway wins the 4th. Ilya's winning the first 3 comfortably. I think he gets a knockdown in, like, the 2nd. And then 5th round, Holloway's building some momentum and Ilya catches him with someone and drops him again. So maybe a second knockdown in the fight for Ilya, and then he steals the 5th round. Or he calls to trade and then drops Holloway. Now, ultimate prediction, this is the real hardcore, the real risky prediction, is Ilya Topuria dominates Max Holloway from pillar to post, points to the ground and sleeps him at the end of the 5th and KOs him. Or the even crazier prediction is Holloway's winning. Holloway points to the ground and tries to prove a point and be like, yep, told you I was going to beat you. And then Ilya fucking stiffs him with 5 seconds to go. Now, that's unlikely. But the logical prediction is Ilya, in my opinion. I think he's better. He's younger. He's improving quicker. Holloway, I think Holloway's improving. I genuinely don't think he's improving that much. I think he's just, when he looks better, it's just favourable stylistic matchups. Like, he looked great against Gaethje. Favourable matchup. Gaethje doesn't fucking move his head. He's a punching bag. He swings big meaty hooks, big looping shots. And unless he fights like he did against Poirier in the rematch, he's not all that, in my opinion. Like, his technique-wise, he's not all that. He's got power. He's got leg kicks. But it wasn't patient Gaethje. And even patient Gaethje is just slower than Holloway. Holloway, when he does well, it's against guys who are slower, head height, so he can just pump the jab out there, do what he did against Cater, mix it up, go body, down, get the targets going. And I think he'll do that. I think he'll fail to do that against Ilya because we've seen it against shorter guys. Volk was able to kind of pump the jab up at him and go up and straight to the body or go up. And then the low kicks were there. His body is a bit more open. Holloway kind of does stand pretty high guard for the most, like kind of like here. I reckon he can rip some body shots in there, maybe hurt Holloway to the body. I could see a body shot TKO from Ilya Arturo in this fight. But Max Hollywood, I just don't think he's going to win the belt. Sorry, edit that out. I don't think Holloway is going to win the belt back. I just don't think that's something that happens. The vibe is just not in Holloway's favour. I think he had an incredible moment at UFC 300, and that was his kind of crowning moment. But I don't think he goes one step further. I don't think he drops back down to featherweight in a weight cut that is historically difficult for him. I don't think he goes back down to featherweight, has a good weight cut, and then puts on a great performance against an unfavourable matchup, in my opinion. Now, I could see the head kicks playing a factor. We know Ilya does get caught by head kicks from time to time. Jai Herbert dropped him. But Volk was doing well with some body kicks. I think he can shoot up the calf of Holloway as well. Holloway's been open to leg kicks. We've seen it in the Volk fights. But the jab, I think Ilya's jab is going to hold Holloway at bay. The range disadvantage is not that significant. Holloway, if I'm not mistaken, I'll double check. I don't think Holloway's just going to have a ridiculous ability to hold reach. They've got them listed at the same reach. I think it might look like Holloway's longer, but I think Ilya's got some weirdly kind of long arms for his build. Or Holloway's arms are just short, to be honest. But I think Ilya's just better. I think he's in his prime, or coming up to his prime. Maybe he's not even in his prime. He's 26. Holloway's taken damage. He did get dropped in his last fight. Not saying that's like, oh, Holloway's got no chin anymore. He's obviously got a great chin. But I just don't think he's going to be able to do what he did against Cequeira or Gaethje. If you're picking Holloway, I don't think you're picking him by, like, dominant decision. I think you're picking him to just edge out, like, the last three. And win, like, the third, fourth, and fifth. Maybe. Because I think Ilya's got the tools to get this one done. I'd say, I'm going to go second round TKO. I'm going to say the Holloway fans are going to be crying. And they're going to be being like, what the fuck happened? Oh, my God, how did this happen? How did our Pookie Max lose? And they're going to just think that Max is some unbeatable fucking god after beating the punching bag, Justin Gaethje. But Ilya's going to win. And I'm not even going to be upset about it. I don't even really want Holloway to win that much. I actually don't think it's that good. Like, it's good for the sport, but it's not amazing for the sport. And I don't think it benefits. I want to see Topuria Lopez, bro. Like, I don't know. I like my cheese drippy. I want to see Topuria Lopez, bro. Like, I don't know. Holloway, just go fucking fight at 55. Like, go do Legends fights and money fights and shit. Like, it'll be a sick fight, but like, Holloway, Volk 4, I just don't want to see a past his peak Volk lose a fourth fight to Holloway where he's clearly won the series at least 2-1, if not 3-0. On paper, 3-0. Holloway Lopez be cool. I don't know. Ilya Lopez just has a bit more appeal to me. Ilya Volk 2. I kind of dread that reality, but I'd rather Ilya Volk 2 than Holloway Volk 4. And then I'd rather Ilya Lopez than Holloway Lopez. So I think Ilya winning is better for featherweight. I think Holloway, as long as he doesn't just get slumped out cold, can just go up and be fine at 55. Maybe fight Poirier again. Maybe fight Gaethje. Maybe fight Connor, Chandler, Dan Hooker. Any of these guys. Holloway's got options at 55. Ilya, I want to see him actually build legacy. And that's what I enjoy seeing, is guys building legacy and coming up. So that's what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to take one step further. Get the win here against Maximus Hollowayus. And yeah, I think 300 Holloway's a once in a lifetime fucking individual. I guess the Cequeira fight, but I just don't think this guy's having back-to-back fucking Hall of Fame performances, which is what I think he would need. I think he would need like a Hall of Fame, one of his best ever performances to get this one done, and I don't think he's going to get that done. So I'm going to be picking Ilya Altoro. Fucking, I'll slap the nails off him, grabbing him by the stuff of the neck. Look at the moon. I'm looking at that sphere, folks. Look at that. Nah, lads, get down and look at the moon. But that'll do it. Great card. Fucking sick card. Yeah. Picks recap. I'm picking Raffael Cequeira. I am picking Ismael Naurdiev. I am picking Rinat Fakhretdinov. I am picking, fucking, what's his name? Abbas Magomedov. I am picking Said Nurmagomedov. I am picking Myktybek, Orolbai. I'm picking Farid Basharat. I'm picking RDA. Sorry, I'm picking Geoff Neal. I am picking... Is there any other prelims that I missed? Anyway, yeah, I'm picking Shara. I'm picking Rakic. That's my dog pick. I'm picking Lerone Murphy. I'm picking Hamzat. And I am picking Ilya Altoro. That'll do it. If you guys want to see another couple videos, fight week, kind of related, let me know. If not, I might do a video, obviously, once I post this. If you guys subscribe to my second channel, again, by the way, link in the description. But yeah, I might do a video, like, fighters that remind me of, like, previous, like, fighters from other generations kind of thing. I was going to do it sooner, but obviously I can't upload on the main channel because I wanted to talk about Fluffy Hernandez again. But anyway, other videos will be coming. Other shit will be coming. I'll be coming. Pause. Anyway, goodbye. See you guys in the next one.